Hi, today's podcast is on effective versus operative dates. So there's often confusion regarding effective versus operative dates. Specifically, the question is when does a statute take effect? And that could be different than the operative date. The general rule is January 1, following the year a bill is enacted, is the usual effective date. We call it the default effective date. And it's also most often the operative date as well. Some have defined effective date to mean when is the new law on the books, which is to be distinguished from when it's operative. There are certain types of bills that are deemed to be in effect upon enactment. That is when the governor signs them and the Secretary of State assigns a chapter number. However, unless your bill is calling an election, contains an urgency clause, is budget related, or a tax levy, you can presume that the effective date of your new bill is January 1 of the following year. On the other hand, in looking at operative dates, a common definition of operative date is when the new law essentially becomes operative. We commonly but mistakenly describe that as when the new law is in effect. But again, effective date is when it's on the books. The distinction is that a bill could have a delayed operative date when it is operating itself. And so the Attorney General, believe it or not, in 1956 said that a statute may be worded so as to provide for an operative date other than its effective date. So an operative date may be the same as the effective date, usually January 1, but the operative date could be different than the effective date, and you'll have to look at the language of the bill to see if it contains language that specifies its operative date. Otherwise, its operative date is January 1. Assuming it's a regular session bill, the default effective date and operative date for an urgency clause statute or one of the other specified bills that take effect immediately, absent a delayed operative date, will also be the immediate effect date of that measure.